Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Slipstream Entrepreneurs Podcast. My name is Rich Wharton. I'm your host, and I'm joined by my extremely wonderful co-host, Hannah Brooks.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Hannah. I am fantastic, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. I'm going to have to go and reapply my mascara because our guest is making me laugh too much. So, yeah.
Well, you've touched on our special guest today, and we have an unbelievable special guest today who is not only going to create so much value, but is going to make you laugh in the process. It is the one and only, it is Ethan Pattison. Ethan, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. After the 7th retake on this, we're having a good time already. Yeah.
Just for everyone out there, this is the second one. It didn't go too well. There might be an outtakes episode that we can release, but yeah, I think it's best that this is the second recording of this podcast. But Ethan, I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you on, more so than anyone else because of our history together. But before we go into our history, and not only our history, but obviously our present and future, but tell us a little bit more about your history, where it all started, where it comes from, and just tell us about Patty Pat.
Well, first of all, my dad put his seed in my mother, and then no. Right, so no, the history of where it began for me. Obviously, if you don't know me, I'm a content creator through Formula One, and I'd like to class myself as a bit of an entrepreneur as well, trying to make it in this world to the elite, if you like. So working hard just as much as you are, Richard. And I know we have our own personal relationship as well, working hard towards that. But the actual content creation itself started, believe it or not, I'm going to say it, is the COVID period. I was a barber by trade, and we were the first to close and the last ones to open. So we were a little bit bored. But fortunately, although we're paying for it now, the government did sort us out with a bit of money. And I was just bored, sat at home. And my brother actually got me into it because I was a very focused young man with entrepreneurial skills and business owning, and I was very busy. You know, I had 3 shops and 12 staff to look after. I was forever back and forth doing everything like that, you know. So when that kind of all stopped, my brother was streaming, and I was like, what is this? I had no idea what streaming was or anything like that. I didn't even know there was a Formula One game, even though I'd been following Formula One since 2005. So I didn't even know that. And he was streaming. He's like, oh yeah. I was like, watching him, and I was like, Jordan, this is brilliant. This is fantastic, man. This is right up my street. Like my character, the ADHD, they're just madness. I was like, I'll fit right in with this. He goes, but my brother knows me. He knows I'm very impatient and I like things done now, there, yesterday. And he goes, but you've got to understand, Ethan, that, content, streaming's really hard. And like, just to get affiliated is like top 1%. And, you know, I've been doing it for like 6 months. I've got 300 followers and I just got affiliated. I was like, oh, mint, nice. I said, so can we go try this out, yeah? So he helped me set it up, and had a little tiny laptop that barely worked, a crappy capture card that cost me like £4. And it was so bad. But I got started, and I had an ex-rugby mate called Scott, he was called, I can't remember his second name, but he... a rugby mate of mine was into it as well. And he got me into the Discord league, and I didn't even know what all this was. Like, people were doing proper racing leagues in Discords with stewards and commentary and stuff like that. And I was like, mate. So I bought myself a G29, a little Playseat Evolution, and I started going for it. And the streaming wasn't too great quality-wise, but I kind of, like everything I did in my life, I try and capture the best way possible to be successful. And I was looking at the game, and I was looking at ways where, okay, how can I get big and affiliated as quick as I can? And I figured out there was an easy system. You know, the way I looked at it straight away was there's 7 days in the week. And these leagues that are in Discord, they have 20 plus drivers, different divisions. So I did 7 days a week commentary. And of course, for me to talk was easy. It comes naturally to me. I've done it all my life. talk to all different types of walks of character, age groups, and everything like that. So the commentary side was brilliant for me, and I did it 7 days a week. And of course, 20 drivers on a grid. I did it for free on the understanding that they would watch my Twitch and follow me. So within a week, I had 1,000 followers, and I got affiliated, and then people started enjoying the way I was, my personality, and then wanted to race with me, and it kind of grew from there. And then, of course, as you do, you upgrade your stuff and stuff like that. But I was very, some people will say arrogant, cocky. I call it confidence, believing in yourself. I don't join in with the, as you would say, the society of the norm. I would call them sheep that get scared of something. So the quickest way for them to react is, because it's different, is try and put you down. I don't involve myself in that rubbish. I believe, and I do, and I make sure. So I remember saying, people laughing at me, I was in this league called APPF1, and at the time I had average views of 3 and about 200 followers. These are like within the first time streaming, and I was so like, hey, I'm going to be signed by a Formula 1 team. Easy, I'll be signed by a Formula 1 team within a year. And everyone just laughed at me. It was like, oh, what were you, 2 views, 3 views, stuff like that. And I just made it happen because I believed in it, and I didn't listen to any of the rubbish, and I just made it happen, and I set my goals, and I knew my targets. And of course, when you're streaming, people see 2 hours of you, so they judge you from that and your entertaining value. What they don't see behind the scenes is the business mind. They're always thinking what's next, or trying to figure out different angles. Even in streaming, which is effectively playing games, there is still a business side to it as well, as you well know, Richard, with the sim racing going to the real life racing, the opportunities for investment and advertisement, and brands really getting involved in the sim racing world as well. So, I built that portfolio as well with my LinkedIn. I knew that it wasn't just about putting my face on a screen. It was about everything else that I had to go with it. And I set my goals. I put myself in areas where I could network properly with the places that I needed to be. And of course, you go down the line, I was signed by Alpine Esports, the Alpine Esports Formula 1 team. So I achieved my goal. And now currently 10.4 thousand followers on Twitch, 32,000 on TikTok, and doing well. Enjoying myself. Is that the story done?
Well, it's part of it, isn't it? Because actually, one thing I do want to touch on, Ethan, is the fact that not only did you manifest, and I use the word manifest. I'm massively into law of attraction, manifestation.
Agreed.
You, from the word go, you were like, I am going to be signed by an F1 team to be a content creator. But I think the thing is, like, I talk to people about manifestation, like dreaming and visualizing things happening. You visualized it, and me having a personal relationship with you, I know you had that.
Yeah.
But the action behind what you did, because you went to lengths bigger than anyone else would ever go to make things happen, and for obviously something to come through like that, something so massive like being signed by an F1 team as a content creator, the opportunities that you got from that, and you got a lot of haters as well, which was
part and parcel there, yeah.
But the biggest thing I think about it was the fact that you did the stuff that no one else was willing to do, so you got the rewards that no one else was really willing to get. And I just have to commend you for that, because it is incredible to see someone who will do whatever it takes to go and achieve the top, and you did exactly that.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, because I don't really often get to hear stuff from that side. It's normally the negative sides that seems to stick, or what people talk about. So, but I know that I did well. I know I did well, because anything that I've done in my life, whatever I dedicate myself to, I've always succeeded. It's just the only thing is passion, man, passion, and believing in your goals. And it's a lot harder said than done, because there's moments like where you do feel weak, because, having the personality I have, knowing and understanding as a 34-year-old man who you are genuinely takes years to do, and coming to terms with it, because, you do question yourself at times. Do I need to change and stuff like that? But as you go further up and realize that actually I don't fit in here, and there's a reason for it, So it's accepting that and just then having the ability to just let them do what they got to do, let them say what they got to do, and things will work themselves out in the end. I always find if you have the passion and dedication and you put forward. And of course, you mentioned the manifestation as well, and a lot of people, it's as simple as changing ifs. It's as simple as changing ifs. A lot of people in your vocabulary, and I've done it myself for years, or if this happens, or if this happens, I just change my vocabulary to when this happens, and I am, instead of maybe. Do you know what I mean? And it was simple as that. And because by saying that, then puts yourself under pressure to take action on that. And if you put your mind into that and you're always saying when and I am and stuff like that, you're then putting yourself under the pressure, and you are your own biggest critic. So you don't want to let yourself down, because your own brain is going to start digging at you. So you end up kind of then putting things into action slowly but surely, and you start thinking of different ways you can do things. And I don't want to say the word, but you can manipulate situations to be beneficial for yourself. In areas, and that's what I did. I mean, Christ, I think, mate, I don't know if this is a true stat, but I'm going to put it out there. But I think not many content creators, I don't think ever in the Formula One world, in the gaming world, has ever been signed by a Formula One team within a year of starting. So I think that's a great achievement. Of course, it didn't work out with Alpine in the end. It was a great opportunity. The year that I had with them was fantastic. It was brilliant. But then when you go into that world, I then understood that I didn't belong in that kind of world, because I putting it bluntly, I'm old school, but I'm old school in certain areas, and I heart on my sleeve, emotional, very straight down the line. But I say it straight up, and I've always been the same. Sometimes that gets me into bother. But actually, now I've learned it's just been true to yourself. And if it doesn't work out, then that's no one's fault. It's just the way it is. Yeah. Their direction was one way, and my direction, the way I am, is another. So it's fine. But the opportunity that I had, the exposure levels, the team, it was all great. It was a great experience. I mean, I've been following Formula One since 2005. How many people can say that they have been to the Alpine Formula One launch, had a conversation with Esteban Ocon, and been to the private launch of the car? I'm like, when you look back at it and you're like, it happened so quick. It's like, so everything was brilliant. And, I don't regret any of the times there. The directions were different towards the second year. So that's what happened then.
What's really interesting is, so when I have conversations with people about like the law of attraction, they often say to me, so what you're telling me then, Hannah, is you say, I want this, and it just happens. And I'm like, well, it does, but you've got to put in the work. Like, you've got to put in action points. You've got to set yourself little targets every day to make the bigger targets happen. It's not just going to happen.
No.
It's the mindset about making it happen that makes you be different to you, for example.
Yeah, well, like I touched on it, it's you don't want to let yourself down. So if you change the way you speak, you're automatically, without you even realizing, subconsciously, you're setting yourself up to work, because you can't let yourself down, because you're your biggest critic, right?
Yeah.
So
100%.
by saying those words in a different light, saying if, you're always putting doubt. But if you're saying I am and when, you're like, oh shit, I told myself when. Means I have to do so. So all of a sudden, subconsciously, you're saying, right, oh God, I've got to. So you start doing things without realizing you're doing it. If you mix that with the passion as well, you've got to have passion for it. You've got to, because the rewards in this game are very few between. You've got to push for years, and you might not get anything. And of course, like me, you just get haters coming on because of the way you are, personality, and what have you. But as long as you keep strong there, you put and you're fighting yourself, and you'll get there. Yeah,
amazing. Yeah.
Really important thing there. I think that's the thing, is it's a delayed gratification is the way I learned it, in a sense that you might be streaming, you might have those streams where you have one or two people watching you. Now I'm sure you haven't had that in a long time, Ethan, but when you're starting out, you may have had one or two people watching. You think,
well, actually, I cheated. I had 3. I made sure my wife, my son, and my mother was watching, so I always had 3. Tricks of the trade, guys. Tricks of the trade. You want to get affiliated? Just get your mother, your daughter, your son, and your missus to watch, and you're sorted. There
Well,
you go. There's
that's
your
where I was
average
going
3
wrong.
straight off the bat, mate.
I never had a dog, so that's the problem. I never had the dogs to follow me. But at the end of the day, you have had those days where you think, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it? And like, you had those days where, things didn't go to plan. You had those days where you had more horrible messages than you did have like rewards, etc. And you just still pushed through it and you got to where you are now. Now, obviously, how important, and especially going into entrepreneur life like you are now and what you're doing at the moment and when we work together, how important is it to think of that bigger picture and what you are going to achieve in the future?
It's really important, but I think everything that I've gone through, everything's a lesson. I just feel like as I've got older, my mind has just completely changed. Like, it used to affect me massively. Like, I just couldn't believe that people would try and sabotage. They know you for like 2 hours on a stream, and everyone's entitled to an opinion of who they are, and they can. That's the beauty of the world, right? If everyone got on with each other, there'd be no wars, right? But the point is not, we're humans, and everyone has different personalities, and that's your prerogative to get on with people that you want to, and have people in your life. At the end of the day, people choose to watch me. What I couldn't seem to get is the people that didn't like me chose to watch me to try and sabotage. And it just didn't compute at the time, and it was really difficult to understand that. And it was more like that was a process and a learning curve to understand that. Gee, God Almighty, this made me even stronger to even just keep going, and now now I'm getting called a wash streamer, and no wonder Alpine got rid. But they don't know the truth of it. It's a very mutual decision. Because I found that once I left Alpine, I actually could relax, because I was getting myself so irate. I couldn't do this, couldn't do that. And then in the end, it stopped me from being the person that I was when I started, which is the reason why I started, because it meant that I could be myself, and people took value into that. So when it was stopping me on my personal opinion, my personal view, okay, I was realizing it was actually stopping me being me, which is the reason why I started streaming in the first place, because it was giving me great value that people enjoyed me for being me. So, sorry, ADHD, I've completely gone off topic. What are we on now?
I mean, yeah, I completely.
Are we there? Did I answer that? I don't think I answered that properly. I swayed off. I swayed off completely.
Ethan, we come on something brilliant though, but can you touch on your ADHD? Can you touch on what is it like being an entrepreneur, content creator, living with ADHD? Because a lot of people use sort of like disabilities or whatever to hold them back.
Right. So
you just embraced it.
Look, a lot of people are ADHD right now because it's confirmed by TikTok. So to actually have it, everyone has traits of everything. Everyone has traits of something. We're all on the spectrum in different aspects, and it just goes. Someone will put out TikTok. Oh yeah, I've got traits like this. No, to actually be ADHD it's a superpower. It's to explain is a superpower and a devil at the same time. It really is. Your life is never normal. It never will be ever normal. You could take medication. So I've got medication that I could take on a morning and an evening, and I found that it just doesn't work for me, because I actually create the best ideas and everything in my head at 3:00 in the damn morning.
Yeah.
The business that we're doing right now, Richard, was 3:00 in the morning. 3:00 in the morning, it's 3,000 miles an hour, and it's my superpower. But it's also the villain. Like, I struggle to sleep, I struggle to settle. I don't. I will be having a conversation with you, but I'll be thinking about 7,000 things, but also what potential conversation you could be having with me later on to answer that question to get ahead of you. It's just a game and a competition always in my head, and it's you're a great talker because of that. But you can quite easily sway off. But yeah, no, it's I've become to know that it's like Richard, we went through something back in the day where like my strength was amazing, but my weaknesses was I struggled to write things down on paper. I've got it all up here, but struggling to get it onto paper. I've come away and worked on that, and I've got a little bit better. But that's kind of the downfall for it. Not settling. My wife actually likes it because we've been together 17 years and I still make her laugh and cry with laughter because I just come up with some random shite. I just like yesterday I was painting the shed. I was doing the cladding on the shed and I found some pins and I was like, these pins that go, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. So I'm going off and I've gone for an hour and I'm pinning up these wires in the bedroom that weren't pinned properly. And it's just random shite like that,
Yeah. I know, yeah. I mean, my partner's got ADHD, and it is a superpower, right? Like, I will be talking to us about something, and she will have planned something 2 weeks in advance whilst doing 2 other jobs, and I'm like, I can't have a conversation with someone and do something else at the same time. I just can't do it. Whereas
the problem is you put yourself under the problem is you put yourself under too much pressure. As well. You get very fizzed up and overloaded. I always find it in like a 2-week cycle that I found myself like I'm fizzed up for like 2 weeks. And it's to do with your endorphins and your dopamine and stuff like that. And I'll be fizzed for 2 weeks and there's no one on this planet that'll beat me on anything. It just isn't. I literally will be streaming twice a day, like 6 hours a day. I'll put 9 bits of content out there, all edited, done. I'm having meetings, I'm doing outside, and I'm just absolute crazy. I have no schedule, no plan. It just happens. And then all of a sudden, I will lose all of it, and you'll see me in bed for 2 days. It's just gone. I've got nothing left. And it just takes a while. So that's kind of the bad side of it in that respect. But yeah. My wife keeps saying, write things down, make a schedule. I can't do it. I said, there's no point of writing a schedule when I can't follow the schedule. Because I get swayed off from that shit. So I can. Just enjoy it while it's happening and then not when it's not.
Absolutely. As long as you embrace that, I think that's the main thing, is as long as you know, like, that's going to happen, for like, realistically, you're kind of like, well, I know I'm going to have those up days, so I'll just go along and I will do a week's load of work in probably 2 days, when most people are taking all week to do something because they have scheduled it out and they're taking breaks, etc. And you just absolutely hammer it out, madness for 2 days, and all of a sudden everything's done. The week's done. Like, you can have breaks, you can afford it.
Yeah. That's why I've never been very good at working for anyone ever. I really don't, because like I will go, I'll work and I'll do, like you say, like a week's work for someone will be able to do in a day, and I'll be just like done. Not just physically, but like the mental side of stuff of it as well. And and I've never been very good at going. Like, I remember working at a farm, and I worked on a farm as a tractor driver for a bit, and I never drove a tractor before in my life. And he took me out on the tractor to learn, and he was like, "Have you driven one before?" I'm like, "No." He said, "Mate, you're ready to go on the road." He's like, with a trailer as well. I went on the trailer to show me the hooking up, reversing, bang. You learn things very quickly because you learn it. They're teaching you, but while they're teaching you, you're asking questions within yourself already, and you're asking little things, but you're already working out the answer before they've told you, and you don't even know anything about it, but you're just doing these little analytic things in your brain, and you end up becoming really good at things, right? But then what problem is that you've been there for like 2 weeks or something, and you start coming up with some obvious solutions to make the job better, and you've got someone there that's been 20 years, proper old Cornish man, 20 years, who hasn't never thought of it, who's in charge, and you've just come up with an idea within like 2 weeks of being there, and then they get the don't they, and they're like, and of course, when someone is different to them or come up with them, some people get scared. Their reaction is to go against it instead of embracing it, and that's why I found, look, man, I can't do working for people.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think me and Rich understand that. We've both had conversations where we've had employers maybe say to us, like, "You're unemployable." It's like, that's a compliment, I think.
My mother said that to me at 6-year-old.
It was actually my mum that said that to me as well. Yeah.
6-year-old, when she locked me in my room and I jumped out my window, I thought I could parachute. Genuine.
Maybe life in the army was the thing forward for you there, Ethan.
Yeah. No. Maybe.
So what's
I don't think I'd be here now. I think I'd be able to take them all on with one shot. Just give me some Tommy guns. I think I'd be the Matrix and be able to dodge bullets, mate. Like, God, that swayed a little bit, didn't it, guys?
I said it was going to be entertaining.
This is true.
We had serious, didn't we? We had serious. Everyone knows the story.
So what's next then for you then, Ethan? What's on your kind of schedule? I say schedule loosely, but yeah, what's kind of in the pipeline?
Yeah, so in the pipeline, obviously, I have got something I'm in the background working on alongside Richard's involved with it as well. That's kind of my main focus right now. Like I said, it started with the content creation, and then I'm understanding that this is not going to make me millions, but I really enjoy it. So what is going to make me millions, but still be able to do content and enjoy what I do? So we are going down a direction. Obviously, I can't mention anything because it's all NDA and all very, very hush-hush at the minute. But we're moving forward nicely on that. That's my main focus at the minute. And of course, we're coming to the arse end of 2023 Formula One games. So it's been a tough one. The game hates me, but it's been tough, and I'm just waiting for the 2024 game to come out. And yeah, I don't really know where my goals are. That's the problem I've got now. I feel I'm a little bit stagnant in the streaming because I've got no goals now. I had my goal. I got signed, and of course ADHD. Right, I've done that. What's next?
Yeah.
What's next for me? Where's my next challenge? You know, I've got to challenge myself all the time, otherwise I get stagnant. So I'm just trying to figure out where my next challenge is. I think maybe I think maybe I did it too early. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Like, no, because like, okay, so currently now I want to get partnered. Now, I did get partner level in the first year, but I didn't hold it for 2 months. They wanted me to hold it for 2 months. I held it for a month, and I was like, "Well, you've done me over here, Twitch," because the second month, when my average viewers were 83 for a full month, and then the month after that, you had the F1 Manager game come out, which killed first time the F1 Manager killed F1 massively. And then you had FIFA come out at the end of the month. So it just dropped. Yeah. I went from like 83 average down to like 30 instantly. Everyone was just bowling about manager game, and it killed me. And I'm not really one to sit on a manager game. Like, it doesn't, I got to be doing something, and it killed it. And I've never managed to get back to that level. And of course I did have moments of disheartening and learning about, so like saying like, don't let people get you down, but it's a process you've got to learn over time, and it really did. And I had moments of where I didn't stream for 3 months, man, because I just couldn't believe what was going on, you know. And of course we had I had with Kimura, and these things went on, didn't it? You know, so it took its toll. But I think the goal for me this year for streaming is to get back to partner, and I am slowly getting back there again. You know, my averages went from 30 up to 45 now, and that's happened in a short period of time since I've actually left Alpine, because I feel like the people that following me and the people that enjoyed my content, I feel like they knew that I wasn't being myself, and the value that I was giving them weren't the great. Although you have a tag of like, oh, Alpine ambassador or Formula One ambassador, you know, for someone like me, it's not what people are watching me for, to be this woke person and be scared to say what, you know. For me, it's like I'm very controversial, or in other people's perspective, controversial, can be misjudged or whatever, outgoing, I swear, I'm loud, I'm just giddy. Do you know what I mean? And I've finally got that back, so I am starting to enjoy it. So I'm just looking forward to the F1 24 game to see where it goes. But yeah, partner level is for that, for the streaming side, and the goals towards the end of this year is to get the business that I've created live. Yeah.
Out of interest, Ethan, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of people on this who will take a lot of interest in this, but in regards to becoming a streamer, what does it take? I mean, there's one thing of clicking live and playing a game, but there's a whole lot more to it, and I can see that in you. Like, what is it you need to do to be a good level streamer? Not even the best like you, but just a good level streamer.
Oh, Jesus. Are we going to the back room after, Rich? Are we? Is that what it is? Yeah. The thing is with streaming, some people I know have personas, right? They have personas on stream. I've seen it firsthand. I'm not going to say who, but they have personas that are completely different off stream. For me, I feel lucky. I don't act any different on stream, off stream, or whatever. So I don't feel like I'm different. So you can create a persona if you need to be, but if you feel like you're that sort of personality, energetic, great, stick with that, right? But you've got to have, for me, you've got to be able to talk when no one's talking. You've got to be able to talk when no one's there. You've got to pretend. You've got to act. You've got to be like almost an actor. You've got to act like you just talk to yourself. Like, I'm good at that, so it's great. You've got to have decent equipment, I feel. I feel like what gives me a good start is that, having a wheel straight away, immersing yourself into it. People like to see that. Of course, as you get bigger, you can have better equipment. The better equipment that people can't maybe get or afford or whatever, like to see that equipment in play, That's a good one. Having your overlays, the basic stuff for streaming, right? It needs to be looking professional. You need to be also channeling your viewers to all over your platforms. You've got to channel those viewers everywhere, and have it easy access. You need to be having one clicks. And you've got to be able to have a business mind. One thing that I see a lot of the time, so I do help a lot of my community members out, and I've helped them massively. Some of them have been streaming for 3 years and they've not even affiliated yet. They've followed me and they've come to part of my community, and I've managed to get them affiliated within 2 months. So, and I feel sorry for them because, like, what I found is streamers get jealous, man. Streamers get jealous. They really rarely help. Like, I remember when I first started streaming, I asked them, they're all like, "Oh, don't come in my stream and or don't advertise, don't think." I'm like, go for it, guy. Because if you have confidence in yourself, you'll keep your community.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you're good, you'll keep your community. Like, and not be funny. Not everyone likes to watch the same person all the time. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. So I allow people to promote themselves, and I will help them to get to a point. Because imagine doing streaming for 3 years and not getting affiliated. In my mind, that's just, so I help these kids that want to be streamers, but I also are realistic. It's not just putting your face on a screen for 2 hours. It ain't that. It is, not only have you got to put up with the backlash, because as you get bigger, you'll have a split, especially mine personally, but you'll have a split of people that like and hate, right? So you've got to put up with that, but of course you've got to come off that stream. You've got to edit, and if you really go for it, you've got to edit your league races, put them onto YouTube. That takes time. You've got to do your segmentation highlights and edits for your Instagrams, your TikToks. You've got to diverse what sort of content on each platform. At the start, it's just like, look, just get it all out on our platform. But then you've got to start figuring out, well, why would they come over to that channel if it's the same as that channel? So you've got to diverse that content as well to get all your followers onto each platform for different reasons, right? And then you've also got to network. You've got to network. It's like everyone says it in all these. I bet network has been mentioned in every damn podcast you've done this week. But it's network, because start your LinkedIn account. Start speaking out, putting yourself in environments. Where do you want to go? Have yourself a plan of where you want to go. You manifest, you put it into action. And I help people. I help a lot of my community members with that. There is a lot to streaming, like crazy amounts, and you don't get rewarded at all, barely. But it's the fun of it, and yeah.
So Rich doesn't know this about me, but I love watching streams. Like, my evening is literally going on Twitch on my phone and just watching streams. Yeah. So I'm very into it, and there's one I mainly stream horror games because I can't play them myself. Can't do it. But there's one guy that I've followed, and he's quite nasty on his streams. I found when he gets any retaliation or any haters, he's nasty back, and I've seen like the impact that that's had on the wider community, and it's not good. Like, how do you handle haters then when you get them?
Tell them to fuck off. How's that mascara going, Hannah? All right. No. So, look, every streamer has their own way of dealing with it, and it's all down to their own personality and their own thing. Yes, I agree. Negativity in your community chat can really affect the whole dynamics of your stream. you have the right mods in place, they'll get rid of that, and you don't even have to mention anything or say anything. Depending on what type of mood I'm in, I'll either give it them or I'll play with them. I'll play the game. I'll play the game, as I say. Depends on what type of mood I'm in. If I'm coming towards the end of my stream and also if the lobbies haven't been great or whatever, I'll play a little game. I'll play a little mind game. Play them at the like, you know, whatever. And other times, like I say, I don't even get the chance. I just look up and mods have sorted it out straight away. But you are definitely right. It can change the dynamics and the way you watch that community, that member. So like, you know, if you're giving up your time and you're like, okay, it's my favorite streamer, and you're part of that community and you're in there and you've got people coming in giving, hey, it just makes everyone feel like, oh, I don't want to deal with that, because if you've had a stressful day or whatever, you just want to chill and unwind. You don't want to be involved in drama, right? No one does when they want to unwind, right? So, you know, there's different ways of handling it. I try and create a way where I will I've done it over the years, but I try now create like not like angry back at them or anything aggressive like that. I just play them at their own game in a weird mind game way, and then make it a laughable moment. So then the community are behind you.
Yeah, exactly.
They're behind you, you know, working that out. And like I say, I've got quick mods. You give them a couple of minutes and you create that, you know, jokiness or whatever, make them feel silly. The community have got your back, and then they get banned anyway. So, but like I say, every streamer has their own way, and there's no right or wrong way to do it, because some people like to watch angry streamers. Some people like to watch, you know, that's the beauty of streaming. They're only there because they enjoy that, and if they don't enjoy it, they go away. If they don't like it, if they don't like the way you stream, if they don't like the way you handle things, then that's it. But there is a market for every type of streamer. There is a market there for every type. You just gotta understand yourself, who you are, and follow through with it. Don't change.
100%.
That for me is very similar to comedy. You know, I've done a bit of stand-up comedy myself, and you see other comedians out there who've done really, really well. And the thing is, like, you look at some of them out there. I'm going to name drop one, Jimmy Carr. Very controversial. Says it how he is. You know, yeah, he has his own point of view on stuff, and he just says it. And he goes, "Look, at the end of the day, I just say things to make people funny. It's as simple as that." And the thing is, it's entertainment for a lot of people. Some people don't like it. If they don't like it, they don't watch it. You know, my thing is with streamers is exactly the same. You're entertainers. You're there to try and entertain people. You're there to try and make people to laugh or provide value to people or change people's mindsets on stuff or whatever. There's a whole heap of different streamers out there. Obviously, you create incredible entertainment value and you love giving back and, you know, having a bit of banter with people, but everyone's different and you're creating...
Not by choice. I mean, I'm shite at the game, so I have to be entertaining.
I was just thinking to myself, like, oh, I'd love to do a bit of streaming. I've always dabbled in it and I've always done commentary and things like that, but I just thought, actually, because of my stand-up background, that might be quite a nice thing to do. Then I just thought to myself, like, what you go through, and I just like, do I really need that? And actually, I look at you and you say that you're not very good at it. I think you are very good at the game. I think you're brilliant at the game. And I just turn to myself, I'm nowhere near as good. I can't do that. But it's just start and do it. Do it for fun. No, don't do it for a business. Do it for fun.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. I do it for fun. I figured out straight away that I was never going to be the streamer that people watch to get better. So I love the guy. I was a big Formula 1 fan, and I love the technical side of things of this sim racing now. Like God, if I went in this cupboard and I had the money right now, I'd buy like a simulation Formula 1 seat. Do you know what I mean? And one day that's happening.
I was going to say, we're going to have that in our office.
And these wheels, you know, they've got so many brands out there, and you can tell the sim racing is going up because now, you know, where it was just Simmercube and Fanatec and just Logitech doing the little ones with Thrustmaster, you're now seeing massive amounts of company joining the world of DD wheels. Loads of pedal companies coming out there. The sim racing's gone, and it's going to still go up like that because now we're seeing a very short. We're seeing the possibilities, shall we say, because of the technologies. We're seeing the possibilities of sim racers now can jump into a car and have testing days and like, whoa, okay, this guy He's good, and he can be potential. And they haven't spent millions of pounds on karting. They haven't spent millions, hundreds of thousands of pounds for GT, cars and stuff like that. And now you're seeing if they're networked right with good managers and stuff like that, they get given opportunity. Because all it takes is the right person on a test day to be watching a sim racer in a real car.
Yeah.
One moment. That's it. That's all it takes. And that was what we were trying to create at Kimura Racing, wasn't it? But hopefully they'll carry on with that journey, because we are seeing that gap shorten.
No, 100%. And I think it's something.
Just not with me.
Well, that's it. We're not a part of that journey anymore. I know Hannah and I have got our own journey that we're now on, which is really exciting. And, that is going to come massively into it, is where, helping, using different assets. For instance, my thing is that, I do a lot of work in motorsport. Hannah and I are both doing lots of more work in motorsport, which is really, really exciting. But actually, sim racing has its own side to that. That digital side of things is really, really quite special. The majority of drivers these days do sim racing as well. And like my biggest thing is the value that we're trying to provide to people is combine the two together. Like, don't just have one pitch deck for one and one for the other, or don't just miss off sim racing completely. Have a pitch deck for both of them. I mean, don't have a bloody pitch deck at all. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't see the value in them, but we'll move on from that. My thing
Don't say that. Just spent $3,500 on one. Flipping hell. You said you liked that pitch deck.
It's a good pitch deck. I don't really like pitch decks. I think you're better off in talking to someone and telling people what you're doing. And this is my thing, is you talk to the right people and talk to enough people and tell them what you're doing, where you're going, what's happening, and how you're going to provide value to them, you're going to get the results. So I still see sim racing, add it in. If you're a racing driver looking to become the best in motorsport, add in your sim racing stuff and tell people how big a following you get, who that audience is, and how that relates to them as the brand, and how you're going to help them.
Well, I think there was an interview with Max Verstappen, and he was saying, and they were asking, why do you do sim racing? What do you do in Spain? Why do you do it? And and he was saying, because these sim drivers are better than me. The way that they take corners compared to a real life is just slightly different, and these sim racers are absolutely rapid. And for me, it's like a challenge to get up to their level. And this is his words himself. Of course, he can get into it. He knows he can go into a real car and be world champion of a Formula 1 car. But he has the challenge of separate, still racing, still practicing his craft, but he's in an environment that people are better than him about. And that's the challenge that he likes. So although it be close, that's the challenge. And I think Max Verstappen is genuinely a great advocate for it, because he's the world champion, 3-time world champion current, and but he does a lot of sim racing. So, and he enjoys it. So he's forever perfecting his craft from all aspects of things. And I think all these young drivers need to be looking up to that, looking into it, really.
100%. 100%.
And that goes with the brands as well. We're seeing the likes of, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we're seeing the, I think Azatec, or they have their own, I'm pretty sure they have their own. So these sim racing companies are starting to have their own ambassadors in real life. So you've got like Azatec, I think, have got a Formula 1 driver as an ambassador, right? I can't go quite, but you're seeing these sim racing companies getting real life drivers ambassadors, vice versa. You've got Alpine with Track Racer. Yeah. And they've got Esteban Ocon doing things with the track racers. So you're seeing the links, even with the brands and the activations there happening. You've got Track Racer, a sim racing company for rigs, on the side of a Formula 1 car, on the mirrors. Do you know what I mean? So you're now seeing the link between the two. So these brands are going to start understanding and flooding into it and seeing the value from both ends.
100%, and they see how many people absolutely love sim racing. It's the closest thing they can get to racing a real life car, and actually it is incredibly close now, which is epic. So yeah, more and more people are going to pile into sim racing. It's on the up. It's only just started this growth curve. I mean, COVID started it. Don't get me wrong. Like COVID was great for sim racing. Maybe not so great for other things, but it was great for sim racing. And actually, you know what? It's been an incredible journey. It's kickstarted it, and it's going to absolutely fly. So it's a really, really exciting time. But Ethan, we've we've got to come to the end of this, unfortunately. I don't really want to, because I'm absolutely loving this so much at the moment, and like I think this is lining up perfectly a little bit further down the line
for a series.
Yeah, so I no, thank you so much for your time so far. And one question we always finish on, and I'm excited to hear this answer. But if you could spend an hour with someone, whether they were alive or dead, who would it be and why?
Oh God! See, I forgot this question was coming. Right, give me 10 minutes. Right, so I got an hour to spend with someone. Who would it be?
Yeah, that's it.
Andrew Tate. No, Jordan Peterson.
Go on, explain why. Explain why. And I'm glad you're explaining Jordan Peterson rather than Andrew Tate, but go on, explain why.
They're both the same people in some respects, I guess. No, just because I think he's a really good advocate for men. I feel like, and I feel like I would ask a lot of questions that would help me progress even better than what I am. So that's the reason why I'd spend an hour with him, and the reason why I like him is because he's a great advocate for blokes. And there's no disrespect to any females or women out there, but if you see the curvature of the way things are going right now, there's a lot of pressure that people don't see of what men have to do, on a daily basis. And I watched something the other day, and it really got to me, and it was like, men did battle, men did the protection and all this for the females, and now because the Western man won, and we've got all this, and we're free with all this and all that the value of the man is like, well, what do we do now? Do you know what I mean? What do we do now? And of course, now the women feel safe and protected because we've won the Western world, and it's all brilliant and lovely. That a lot of these men don't know what to do, and then they're always under pressure because they're like, you're getting told off for playing video games and stuff like that. But for me, we're genetically, we're there to provide, protect, and nurture in aspects as well. That's what we do, and I think we're under a lot of pressure from the other side of things now, and I feel like quality is equality, not now take it the other way. Men's mental health is absolutely massive right now, and I feel like even now we're dealing with men's mental health very wrong. I feel like men's mental health is has to be dealt with differently to females, and it does, because we're not the same. We're not equal. We are not equal. We are not equal. So there's no such thing as equality, because we're not equal. We're shit at some things. They're better. Females are better than us. That's just the way it is. Okay, and you should be nurturing each other from that. We're meant to, that's the way I look at it, right? That's my opinion. And oh God, I've lost myself, but I got into a really good point. Where is it? I'm coming to a really good point here, and I've lost it. See what I mean? Fuck, God's sake, I've lost it. But oh man, what was I saying, Richard? Help me out, because I really need to finish this point.
You were talking about Jordan Peterson and how we, how men and women are different.
Yeah, so mental health. Thank you. Mental health for men has to be dealt with differently, and I feel like there's so much pressure on. A man needs to talk and release and stuff like that, and talk away their feelings and stuff like that. And I think slightly some of that, but is slightly true. But in many cases in society, a man will open up, and it will be used against them very quickly. And all it takes is something to go wrong in a relationship, something to go wrong, and with a friendship, and bang, you're open. So then that war comes straight back up for a man. And I feel like a lot of the men's mental health right now is to do with the fact that, we're lacking purpose. And men need to have purpose. That's just what we need to do. We need to be valued with whatever. Like, my wife gives me jobs to do. I feel and appreciate. I value, that's my value. But when you've got females saying, whatever you can do, I can do this, that, and the other, and all this and all that. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll sit back, play video games, and whatever. Do you know what I mean? And then my mental health goes down. A man needs to feel valued, and a female, in my mind, needs to feel nurtured and protected. That's the way I've always been. I've been with my wife 17 years, and so far so good, I guess. But yeah, I just feel like that's why I would spend a bit of time with them, just to try and understand a little bit more about that, because I think they're onto something. I think they really are onto something, because I always feel like when I opened up, when I was going through a tough time, why would I want to talk about shit that I'm upset about? Do you know what I mean? Every day, what does it do? Nothing. But I tell you what, if you give me a job to do, a purpose and value from that, and you value, and my spouse values me, I'll do it till I die. Do you know what I mean? And so I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, and then all of a sudden, you've forgotten all that. You don't need to, because you feel valued and you've got purpose and drive. So I feel like that's why I would go with Jordan Peterson, and just ask a bit more questions to widen my knowledge on that, and just get a bit more on that one. But yeah, that's who I'd go by. Bit long-winded question in the end, but yeah, you go. You've decided to have a meeting with ADHD, mate. Cheers.
Well, no, you know what? I love that. I absolutely love it. I love the fact that it's all about finding out more. I'm a massive advocate for men's mental health as well. I'm a massive advocate for mental health full stop, but men's mental health in particular, especially because I've suffered as well. We've spoken about what we've gone through in the past, Ethan, and close in that space, and I think it's really, really important for people to hear. And like you said, you can't just deal with mental health the same way for every single person, because every person is different. Everyone has their different struggles, and someone may struggle up here and someone may struggle down here, but it's completely different. They're both struggling just as much as each other.
The emotion is still the same.
100%. And
that's what I deal with when I talk to people, younger people that talk to me. And I'm like, is it the worst thing you've ever gone through? Yes. Okay, so if I say this happened to me or whatever, would you class that in your world or in your perception worse? And they'll go, yeah, that's worse. And I'm like, no, it's not. Because it doesn't matter what the action or what happened, the emotion that you went through to the emotion that I went through is still the worst emotion that you've ever been through. Yeah. So you're only putting that on a pedestal because that's what society has said what's worse than the other. But what you're forgetting is that emotional scarage and emotional trauma is still at the same value as the other person, because it's the worst thing that they've gone through. Yeah. It's the same. I a lot of the times I'm pretty brutal with, it's a bit of a gamble at times, because I deal with a lot of younger lads, between 16 and 18 to 20, and I do have a little gamble. At the end of the day, as a content creator, that's one thing we've missed out. As you get bigger, you do become, people look up to you, you see. So you've got to, first of all, they got to understand where you're at or who you are. But second of all, you've got a responsibility, because you don't want to say the wrong thing at times, but you want to help. So you get to know your community and understand where you got to go with them. And sometimes I feel and say, look, you got to do. You can't just mope around. I said, do you want to defy that moment do you want that moment to defy your future? Because I tell you what, if you want to, you've got the excuse for life, mate. All right, if you want to be a bum and be depressed and sit in there and just tell all the world that you're this and that because that happened or this happened or whatever, then you've got the brilliant excuse, mate. Great job. That's the way I go with it. But I said, but then if you have let that, and I said, do you want that world? Do you want to? Because you've got a great excuse for it, so you could be a slob all your life, mate, and chill and just feel depressed and have that perfect excuse, and no one would bat an eyelid because they go, oh, this guy's like that because of this. Are you wanting to be that guy? And they're like, no, of course not. I said, well, don't let that moment defy your future then, eh? Yeah. Because by that moment, you're letting that moment win you, beat you. Yeah. So let go of that shite. Start thinking about where you want to go, not about why you are who you are now. And that's what I say to a lot of the young guys out there. Brilliant. Don't let moments like that defy your future.
That is the perfect place to finish, I think, because that is absolute pure gold. You know what? I have taken so much gold from this. This is unbelievable podcast episode. I'm so grateful for you, Ethan. Obviously, Hannah, I tell you every day that I'm so grateful for you, and I always am. But thank you so much for jumping on.
I'm grateful for our mascara, to be fair. It stayed on.
It's all right, to be fair.
I think there's a sponsorship opportunity in there.
Do you know what? I think I look I think I'd do it. Like I'd go like Marilyn Manson kind of style. Like,
Oh yeah, I'd pay to see that.
So-
On screen, to be fair.
what's up? Guess what's happening tonight? Let's guess what's happening tonight. Watch out, Paddy Pat going live.
Talking about going live, Patty Pat, where can people find you?
Yeah, so going live on Twitch in about an hour's time. Obviously, this is recorded, so don't go by that timings. Yeah, so I'm on live pretty much every day on Twitch. I've also got my Discord. It's all on my Instagrams. Like I said, one link to all. So paddypat.official is the person you want to look at. And of course, if you're wanting to reach out on business perspectives as well, obviously I've got Ethan Pattison on my LinkedIn.
Perfect.
Amazing.
We'll put those in the description anyway, so people can click on the link and follow you straight away. But Ethan, thank you so much for your time. Like I said, I'm really, really grateful. It's been a great episode. It's made me laugh so much, and we've had so much value as well, which has been absolutely epic. Hannah, thank you again for what you do. You are incredible. But guys, thank you for listening. Please subscribe. Please share with your friends and family, especially to those who would take so much value for this. Because I think there is a lot of people out there who would love to hear this episode. So please share it on your social medias with people who think you're going to take value. But thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.
Cheers now.